The hiss is the first thing you notice, a sharp burst of gas escaping as the cap twists free. Then the smell, sweet, dark, almost caramelized, rising before the liquid even touches your lips. It's familiar, comforting, ordinary, but it wasn't meant to be. The drink in your hand was never designed to be refreshing. It wasn't created for taste or for pleasure. It began as something else entirely, something medicinal, something that promised to heal the human mind. And hidden in that glass of fizz is a story that feels almost impossible. Because Coca-Cola didn't start as a soft drink. It started as a drug. It's easy to miss how strange that really is. Coca-Cola is one of the most recognizable products on Earth. Sold in nearly every country, consumed billions of times a day. A symbol of refreshment, happiness, even nostalgia. But look closer, and the contradictions start to appear. Why does a simple soda have a secret formula locked in a vault? Why was its original name tied to ingredients now considered dangerous? And how did something once prescribed by doctors become a global everyday drink? The deeper you look, the less ordinary it feels. Because Coca-Cola wasn't just invented, it evolved. It passed through phases that most products never survive. Medicine, stimulant, patent remedy, industrial product, cultural icon. And at every stage, something changed. Ingredients disappeared. Others were quietly replaced. The purpose shifted. The story was rewritten. Yet one thing remained constant. People kept drinking it, even when they didn't fully understand what it was, even when the truth was hidden in plain sight. So to understand Coca-Cola, you have to go back. Not to a factory, not to a brand in the late 19th century, searching for relief. The year is 1886. Atlanta is still rebuilding after the American Civil War. The air smells of coal smoke and horse-drawn traffic. Pharmacies are not just places for medicine, they are laboratories. Experimentation is everywhere. And at the center of this story is a man named John Stith Pemberton. He is not thriving. A former Confederate officer, Pemberton carries something invisible from the war, chronic pain, likely from a saber wound. To manage it, like many at the time, he turns to morphine. At first it works, then it doesn't. Dependence creeps in. Quietly, relentlessly. So Pemberton does what pharmacists of his era often did. He tries to invent his way out. He begins experimenting with tonics, syrups, chemical blends designed to ease pain without the dangers of opiates. His goal is simple: replace one addiction with something safer. But what he creates will become something else entirely. His early formula is inspired by a popular European drink, Vin Mariani. It's a mixture of wine infused with coca leaves, the same plant used to produce cocaine. At the time, this is not shocking. Cocaine is legal, even respected. It's believed to boost mood, sharpen focus, and restore vitality. So Pemberton adapts the idea. He creates a drink called French wine coca. It contains coca leaf extract, and it contains cola nut, rich in caffeine. A stimulant layered on top of another stimulant. Energy, bottled. But then something unexpected happens. In 1886, Atlanta passes temperance laws restricting alcohol. Suddenly, Pemberton's formula is illegal. He has two choices: abandon it or change it. He chooses to change it. He removes the wine, reworks the recipe, keeps the coca, keeps the cola, and what remains is a thick, dark syrup. Not a drink, not yet. A pharmacist's base. He takes it to Jacob's Pharmacy, where soda fountains are the social hubs of the time. There, the syrup is mixed with carbonated water, an emerging novelty. The result is accidental, effervescent, slightly bitter, sweetened just enough. And something clicks. Pemberton's bookkeeper, Frank Mason Robinson, gives it a name. Coca from coca leaves. Cola from cola nuts. Coca-Cola. He also designs the logo. Flowing script. Distinctive. Timeless. But at this point, it's still not a soft drink. It's sold as medicine. 5 cents a glass, marketed as a cure for headaches, fatigue, nervous disorders, even impotence. A brain tonic. Advertisements promise clarity, focus, relief. And for many, It delivers something that feels like that, because hidden in the formula is a small amount of cocaine. Not enough to shock, but enough to stimulate, enough to make people feel better, enough to make them come back. Sales begin slowly, about 9 servings a day. Nothing extraordinary, nothing that suggests global dominance. And then, everything changes. Because Pemberton never sees what Coca-Cola becomes.
Likewise, we look forward to
Within a few
successful
years, his
partnership.
health declines. The addiction he tried to escape still grips him. And in 1888, he dies. Poor, largely unknown, and without control of his creation. The formula changes hands. And eventually, it is consolidated by a new figure, a businessman named Asa Griggs Candler. Candler is not a chemist. He is something else, a marketer. Where Pemberton experimented, Candler sells. He buys the rights, refines the branding, pushes Coca-Cola beyond the pharmacy, coupons, advertisements,
Thank you very much.
free samples, and slowly, quietly, Coca-Cola begins its transformation. From medicine into something the world has never seen before. Today, Coca-Cola is no longer mixed behind a pharmacy counter. It is engineered,
It's reading slightly
scaled,
high.
controlled with a precision that
Adjusting the
turns
flow
billions
right
of
now.
servings into something that tastes exactly the same, whether you open it in London or Tokyo. And yet, the process still begins with something deceptively simple: a syrup. Inside highly secured facilities owned by the Coca-Cola Company, the concentrate is produced. This is the closest thing to the original formula that still exists. The exact recipe is one of the most closely guarded trade secrets in the world. Only a handful of people are said to know it in full, but the structure is understood. First, purified water, not ordinary water. This is filtered, treated, stripped of impurities down to a controlled baseline, because even water has a taste. Then comes the sweetener. In some countries, it's sucrose, cane sugar. In others, especially the United States, it's high fructose corn syrup. Either way, the role is the same: sweetness, balance, masking bitterness. Next, caramel color. This gives Coca-Cola its deep, almost black appearance, but it also adds subtle, bitter, burnt notes. Then comes the acid. Phosphoric acid. Sharp, clean, precise. It cuts through the sweetness and defines the drink's signature bite. And then, the part no one fully sees: natural flavors, blended, measured, hidden. Once the concentrate is complete, it doesn't go straight to consumers. It moves across borders, across continents, through a global network designed for one purpose: consistency at scale. The syrup arrives at bottling facilities operated by partners like Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners. Here, the real transformation begins, because the syrup isn't drinkable yet. It's too dense, too concentrated, too intense. It has to be rebuilt into the final product. Step 1. Water treatment. Local water is never used as is. It passes through multiple layers: filtration, carbon treatment, reverse osmosis, and sterilization. Each stage removes variability, minerals, odors, microorganisms. The goal is absolute neutrality, because if the water changes, the drink changes. Step 2. Blending. The treated water and syrup are combined in exact ratios. Not by hand, not by estimation, by machines calibrated to precision. Temperature is controlled. Flow is monitored. Ratios are locked. Every batch must match the last. No drift, no deviation. Step 3. Carbonation. This is where the liquid becomes something else. Carbon dioxide is injected under pressure, but only after the liquid is chilled. Because cold liquid absorbs gas more efficiently, the CO2 dissolves, forming carbonic acid. Invisible, temporary, essential. And when the bottle is opened, that familiar hiss, that's pressure releasing, gas escaping, carrying aroma with it. The drink isn't just tasted, it's activated. Once carbonation is complete, everything becomes a race against time. Because the moment pressure drops, the drink begins to lose something. The filling process is designed to prevent that loss. Liquid moves through sealed, pressurized systems into bottles and cans at extraordinary speed. Thousands of units every minute. But speed alone isn't the challenge. Control is. Each container must receive the exact volume, the exact pressure, the exact seal. Too much turbulence, and carbonation escapes. Too slow, and efficiency collapses. So the system balances both. Precision under motion. Containers are filled in environments where pressure is carefully maintained. The moment they are sealed, the internal system is locked, carbonation preserved, flavor stabilized, experience protected. Then comes inspection. Random samples are constantly pulled from the line. Sugar levels are measured, acidity is checked, carbonation is tested. Even the sound of opening a bottle can be analyzed because consistency is not just chemical, it's sensory, it's expectation. Then packaging, labels applied, dates stamped, batches tracked. From there, the scale becomes visible. Pallets stack, trucks load, routes optimize. The product moves outward, from factories to warehouses, from warehouses to stores, from stores to hands. Across cities like London, across countries, across continents. A single formula, replicated billions of times. Identical, predictable, reliable. And yet, behind that uniformity is something unusual. A drink that began as an experiment now moves like infrastructure, silent, constant, everywhere. For something so familiar, Coca-Cola has a history that feels uneasy. It begins with the ingredient most people now associate with danger. In the late 19th century, coca leaf extract was not controversial. It was used in medicines, tonics, even toothache drops. When John Stith Pemberton included it in his formula, it was considered therapeutic, but science caught up. By the early 1900s, the risks of coke, addiction, neurological damage, dependency, were becoming impossible to ignore. Public pressure grew. Regulations followed, so Coca-Cola changed. Around 1903, the company began removing the active component, switching to decocanized coca leaves, leaves with the psychoactive compound extracted. The name stayed, the effect changed. But that wasn't the only concern. As Coca-Cola scaled, so did scrutiny. Sugar content became a target. A single serving contains significant amounts, linked, over time, to rising concerns about type 2 diabetes and obesity when consumed excessively. Acidic content raised questions about dental erosion. And then there were the myths, rumors that the formula still secretly contains drugs, that it can dissolve teeth overnight, that it was once radioactive, toxic, or addictive in ways never disclosed. Most of these are exaggerated. Some are entirely false, but they persist. Because Coca-Cola has always lived in a strange space between transparency and secrecy. A product consumed daily, yet never fully explained. And that tension between what's known and what's hidden has followed it from the very beginning. What makes Coca-Cola feel the way it does is chemistry. Not just ingredients, but interactions. The moment the liquid touches your tongue, multiple systems activate at once. Sweetness comes first. Sugars bind to taste receptors, specifically the T1R2 and T1R3 receptor proteins on your tongue. These signal the brain almost instantly. Energy, reward, something worth consuming again. Then the acidity hits. Phosphoric acid lowers the pH to around 2.5. For context, that's close to vinegar. This sharpness stimulates sour receptors, cutting through the sweetness and preventing sensory overload. But the most distinctive sensation is the fizz. Carbonation isn't just bubbles. When carbon dioxide dissolves in water, it forms carbonic acid. When you drink it, an enzyme in your saliva, carbonic anhydrase, converts that into a tiny burst of acidity directly on your tongue. Your brain interprets this not just as taste, but as a mild irritation, a controlled, pleasurable sting. That's why carbonation feels alive, why it tingles, why still Coca-Cola tastes incomplete. Then aroma takes over. As bubbles rise and burst, they carry volatile compounds upward. Vanilla notes, citrus oils, spice extracts. These reach your nose retronasally, meaning from the back of your throat, to your nasal cavity. What you taste is actually smell, a layered perception built from chemistry and airflow. And finally, temperature. Cold suppresses bitterness and enhances carbonation retention. That's why Coca-Cola is engineered and marketed to be consumed chilled. Because chemistry doesn't just define what it is, it defines how it feels. Every sip is a controlled sensory event, not accidental. Designed, the next time you open a bottle, listen closely. That hiss isn't just gas escaping, it's history. A wounded pharmacist searching for relief. A formula rewritten under pressure. Ingredients removed, replaced, disguised. A medicine that forgot it was medicine and became something else. What you're holding isn't just a drink. It's a system of chemistry, industry, and storytelling, refined over more than a century to feel simple, effortless, inevitable. But it was never inevitable. It was engineered. Every flavor note, every bubble, every sensation, designed to feel natural, even though it never was. And that familiar taste, it isn't just refreshment. It's one of the most successful transformations in human history, from cure to craving.